What advice would I give to my younger self if I wanted to have been more disciplined and been more successful and achieved results faster? Today, I'm going to tell you everything that I did on a special private training for a coaching client of mine and his 150 sales reps, who were all young men and women and who all wanted to be ambitious and have great success. And I did this training for them. I got so fired up that I wanted to bring it to you. Hi, my name is Craig Ballantyne, I'm the host of Early to Rise Radio, and today we're going to jump into discipline tips for young men and women, which is also advice for my younger self. So I have a picture up here. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a picture of me with my kettlebell overhead, my six-pack abs, and old Bally the dog. This is nearly 20 years ago. It was 18 years ago in 2007. My mom took this picture when I was visiting her and my sick father, and I was training in the backyard with a kettlebell. And we got the right lighting, and she took a picture with a digital camera of all things. And I used this photo actually to go and make over $1 million directly from this photo, used it in advertising, used it to sell my turbulence training fitness programs back in the day when I was a bit of a bigger boy. Anyways, today in this episode, you're going to discover the biggest problem that people have today. We're going to show you how to build level 10 discipline. I'm going to walk you through how I am putting a level 10 effort into my marriage. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to talk about the two smartest things that I've ever said, the two best books for young people. I've bought over 500 copies each of these books for young people. How I quit binge drinking and other vices. And if I could go back, the three things that I would tell my younger self. So we got a lot of stuff to cover today. I want to start with the two most helpful books that I've bought young people. The first is The Art of Living. It is a book by Sharon Lebel. It is a translation of Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, and his teachings. And it is written in a very easy to digest format. It has about 3,000 reviews on Amazon, very high 5-star ratings, and it just is one page per day. It will change your life. When I went through The Art of Living in about 2009 or 10, when I first bought it at the suggestion of Matt Smith, my business partner at the time, I came up with my 3C formula that I put in the Perfect Day formula. And it helped me understand that I don't control what's external. I only control what's internal, my thoughts, words, and deeds. And that helped to reduce a lot of stress from my life. The second book is something that, I paid Tim Grover over $25,000 to come and speak at one of my events. And part of that deal was that he signed 400 copies for our attendees. And then I've bought hundreds of copies since for other people. And the book is called Relentless. Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's personal trainer. You may have seen Tim Grover in the Last Dance documentary on Netflix. And after I finished the fitness business, which I ran from 2000 to 2015, and I retired from that, I shut down a multi-million-dollar business virtually overnight. And I started from scratch my coaching business. And the next year was really tough. And every day I would wake up and I would read 3 pages of Relentless, and I'd be like, ready to run through a wall. And that book really helped me get through a tough time. And I've read it multiple times since. So I buy these 2 books for young folks, and I think it'll make a huge difference. Now, the 2 smartest things that I said, again, the first one comes from the Perfect Day formula, which was influenced by The Art of Living. And it's my 3C formula. Control what you can, cope with what you can't control, and concentrate on what counts. You control your morning. That's the thing you have the greatest control over during the course of the day. In the afternoon, kids are going to get sick. People are going to bring you their emergencies, and you have to cope with what you can't control. So you have to think about all the obstacles that are going to come up in life, and you have to plan solutions for each. That's how you cope with what you can't control. And we do all of that. We are rigid in our mornings. We are planned for the chaos so that we can concentrate on what counts at night. And, I'm a family man. I spend my time in the evening with my family, with my wife and my 3 kids, and that's what it's all about. And so I designed the system, the formula to have perfect days so you have productivity, so you move towards your goals, you achieve success, but you don't miss out on time with your family. That's what it's all about. The second smartest thing that I ever said was inspired a little bit by Tim Grover, and it was in my book Unstoppable about how to overcome anxiety, because I had those anxiety attacks in 2006 that sent me to the emergency room. Action beats anxiety, motion beats meditation, work beats worry. And that is a call to arms. If you are feeling anxious, what you need to do is take action to overcome it. I never took a pill for anxiety in my life and never would, because I know that there are tools that can get you out of it, because anxiety is self-inflicted. self-inflicted, and I don't have much respect for anxiety. If you have anxiety over and over and over again, you just need to do the work. You can get anxiety once, that's fine. But if you have it multiple times, you're not doing the work to fix yourself, because anxiety is just you worrying about things that, aren't going to happen, and you comparing yourself to others, and you getting all worked up. And what you need to do is get outside of your own head. You need to go and have gratitude and be generous with your knowledge, your help, because you can't be out being generous and helping other people and have anxiety. They are incompatible. And so taking action and moving ahead in your life will get rid of the anxiety. Now, here's the biggest problem with people today. I don't know if you've seen these Instagram reels by this guy from Iceland. He's a California student at like USC or something. And there's these silly, very, very viral videos of him getting in an ice bath with some cute college girls. And it's so goofy because the cute college girls have ice like barely up to their waist. They're hardly doing an ice bath. Like, when you're going to do an ice bath, you get it up to your neck and you sit in there for 3 minutes, and it's pretty hard. Now, it's still a parlor trick. Anybody can do it, but these girls aren't even trying. And this guy comes in and he dunks his head underwater. And, the one that I saw has hundreds of thousands of likes and millions of views. And the problem with people today is that they're very reactive. And so they don't think about what really matters to them. Instead, they go and see something on the internet and they chase another person's dreams. And they're putting so much energy into that. They're very ambitious people. They have big goals and dreams, and they have lots of energy, and they will work hard, but they have the wrong orientation. And so they see something and they chase it, and it takes them off their path of greatness. And that really, man, it breaks my heart and really gets me fired up. And so the problem is that people are putting a level 10 effort into a level 1 problem. And I tell this story about speaking at the Fitness Business Summit, an event ran by my friend Bedros Keuilian from 2010 to 2019, basically. And every year I'd speak in front of the same 500 to 700 people. Always, there's Joe, Johnny, and Jane sitting out there. And this year they got 8% body fat and $8 in their bank account. And they're going to get all this information, and they're going to go home, and they're going to come back next year with 7% body fat and $7 in their bank account, because all they did was put a level 10 effort into getting their body fat lower. They're personal trainers. That's what they do. They put a level 1 effort into getting better at sales, which is their level 10 problem, so that's why they are broke, but they have low body fat. And so people would look at that person and go, wow, that person's disciplined. They're 7% body fat. But they're undisciplined in that they don't do the work on the sales and marketing, so they stay broke. So just because you're disciplined in one area doesn't mean you're disciplined in every area. And that's another mistake that people make. And so Joe, Jane, and Johnny out there, they were wild horses. They had lots of ambition. They were willing to work hard, but they were white-knuckling wild horses. They were out there running around like crazy and burning off all their energy. And they drank all the water and snorted all the oats and just, went off galloping into a frenzy. But they were putting that level 10 effort into a level 1 problem. Now, the true definition of discipline in my book that I came up with is putting a level 10 effort into your level 10 problem. So you need to step back. Before you chase another discipline challenge, you need to step back and you need to say, what do I want my life to look like? What's my big why? What drives me? Oh, it's my wife and my kids. Okay, if it's your wife and your kids, you're not going to go and join a discipline challenge that takes 3 hours a day. But I know people that have done that, and the next thing you know, their wife and their kids walked out on them. So they went and chased the good and they lost the great. And what point of life is that, man? And so when you are a wild horse putting a level 10 effort into your level 1 problem, it breaks my heart, because you're putting the good in the way of the great, and you are going to end up destroying your life in that pursuit of discipline. So make sure that if you want to be successful, you identify your level 10 problem and you put a level 10 effort into it. So here we're going to do a little bit of work. Unless you're driving a Tesla, keep your hands on the wheel. But if you are sitting at your home with pen and paper, or you're in your office, or you're somewhere where you can stop and think about this, what I want you to do right now is list your biggest problem in life. Could be 2 or 3 problems. Could be around your relationship, your financial status, your business, your career success, whether you got health problems, whether you drink too much, whether you smoke too much weed, whether you use porn too much, whatever vice you have. What is it on your bad days when you get up and you're like, man, I really just wish this would change? Or if you could wave a magic wand, what is that thing that you want to change in your life? That's your level 10 problem. And you're not putting a level 10 effort into it, most likely. So that's the second part. If that's your level 10 problem, be real, be subjective, be honest, and write down what level of effort are you giving it. So let's say that you've been married for 15 years and you got a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, and you and your wife are basically Uber drivers for your kids. And you're shuttling them around, and you see your wife for 5 or 10 minutes while you're picking up food for dinner, and she's going out to take, the other kid off to another thing. And you're getting no time with her, and your marriage is getting cold. That's your level 10 problem. Now, what level of effort are you putting into it? Are you doing date days? Are you doing date nights? Are you doing date trips every month? Are you reading the 5 love languages and applying that? Are you increasing your level of communication? Are you buying her flowers? Are you leaving post-it notes around the house? What are you doing to put a level 10 effort? Make a list of all the 20 things that you could do that would be a level 10 effort. So that's point number 3 here. After you have identified your level 10 problem and you've identified what level of effort you're putting into it, it's probably not a 10, it's probably like a 4 or a 6. Then list everything that you could do that would be a level 10 effort. So if you are 40 pounds overweight and your cholesterol is high and your blood triglycerides are high, that's a big problem. Now, what are you doing about it? What are you doing? Oh man, you go for a walk a couple times per week. That's like a level 3 out of 10. Now, what would it look like to put a level 10 effort into losing that 30 or 40 pounds and getting your health back? Well, you do meal prep every week. You would hire a nutritionist. You would hire a personal trainer. You would work out at the gym 3 times per week. You would walk every single day for a minimum of 30 minutes. You would drink 4 liters of water. You would sleep 7 hours a night. You would get rid of all the junk in the house. You would get an accountability buddy. That's a level 10 effort. And you know what you're going to get? Level 10 results. But if you don't put a level 10 effort into it, you won't get level 10 results. So identify that level 10 problem. Go through this exercise for each and every one of the level 10 problems in your life. And then after you've done that, make sure you do the work, because discipline is putting a level 10 effort into your level 10 problem. That's it. It's not cold plunging or doing hard things. Those are all just forms of entertainment and perverse forms of procrastination where you're doing good things that get in the way of the great. So when you've done this exercise, you're going to see big changes in your life when you follow through. So here is how I actually filled this worksheet out. So I'm doing a mastermind and taking my clients through this worksheet for their business and their personal life at the mastermind about making sure that they're putting a level 10 effort in their level 10 problems. And I did this for my own personal problem in life, which is taking my marriage from great to amazing. Our marriage, 9 out of 10 right now, but could be better. Could be an 11 out of 10. What level of effort am I putting into our marriage right now? Man, like maybe a 6 out of 10. We're busy with the kids, 3 kids under the age of 3. Wife's getting back in shape. She's working on some rehab from her 3 C-sections. I got to run the business. There's a lot going on in our lives. So we could be doing more. And so my wife and I sat down and did this exercise together because we're very serious and committed to our relationship. So one of the boxes is who can help you? Back to the fitness one, who can help you get in shape? The nutritionist, the trainer, the accountability buddy, maybe your brother-in-law who's in great shape, maybe your friends at work. Put everybody down who can support you on the journey. For me, it's Daniel Woodrum, the head coach in my business, because he's been married for 10 years, has 3 kids. I'm going to go to him and get like, hey man, what's working? And one of the things that works for him is that him and his wife don't do date nights every week. Instead, they do one weekend away every month because they find that they connect more on that. That's brilliant. That's thinking outside the box. That's, putting a level 5 effort into it. That's putting a level 10 effort into it. The Freemans, meet the Freemans on Instagram. So I think it's meet_the Freemans, or it's meet the Freemans. Anyways, Jocelyn and her husband, last name Freeman, I don't know what his name is. They have a massive Instagram following. They follow me on Instagram. I follow them. They have not millions, but hundreds of thousands of followers. They have a lot of viral content, and it's very, very great marriage advice. So those people are going to help me. And then my wife. I need to chat with my wife about how we can make our marriage even better. And so we work together on this, and you can see we have 11 or 12 bullet points. If you see the worksheet, we have 11 or 12 bullet points. So we have daily date dinners. We do those now every day. So we don't eat at the same time as our toddlers. We eat separately before our kids. Our kids are playing or having a bath with our nannies. We're fortunate to have them. And so my wife and I sit down and have dinner for 30 minutes every night at our dinner table. So we have a date day in the house every day, a date dinner. We do a daily emotional check-in. I increase my communication. So as an introverted type person, I keep a lot of thoughts in my head. I don't share enough, and she's tired of figuring me out. So I made a commitment to sharing more. We have a LACE acronym: listen actively, communicate empathetically. That's my job. Be on the same page. There's Gottman is a marriage therapist, and he recommends 20 positive interactions for every negative interaction. So have that 20-to-1 ratio. Daily post-it note, cooking dinner together 5 out of 7 nights per week, being fully present during our morning 2 hours from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. with the kids, and then from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Because computers are sitting around, the phones are sitting around. Sometimes we're calling grandma, and then we keep scrolling on our phones, and so we just need to be fully present. We want to have a weekly date day, so we go to the gym together. We do cold plunges as dates, not as some actual thing that's gonna make us millions of dollars, but we look at cold plunging as entertainment. And then we have a monthly date night or overnight. We haven't started those yet because we're those parents who don't want to leave our kids. We love hanging out with them. We want to put them to bed every night. And the thought of not putting them to bed at night gets in the way of us having date nights out. So, that's something we're working on. After you've done that list, think of the 80-20 principle. So 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. So if you put down 10 things, there's 2 things that are going to deliver dramatically most of the results. What are those things? For me, it's the daily vibe check-ins, the daily emotional check-ins, and also that weekly date day, and communicating empathetically. So if I do those 3 things, that'll take our marriage from a 9 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. And then have some immediate actions and deadlines. So what are you going to do right now, or what are you going to do by next Friday to move you ahead on this? And this is a game changer for you. This is going to be really, really valuable to identify that level 10 problem, list what it looks like to fix it, and then do it. All right, let's finish off with the advice that I give my younger self. This really fired people up because the second one threw them for a loop. So the number one thing if I go back in time, right, and I could sit there and I could shake myself silly and say, you got to do this. The first thing I'd say is learn face-to-face, nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes sales. Because that's just listening actively and communicating empathetically. That's the LACE acronym right there. Having the patience to listen and not talk over somebody, to be able to ask the right questions and then persuade them to take action. Take the action you want them to take. My goodness, that helps when you're trying to get your 3-year-old to brush their teeth. That helps when you're trying to negotiate anything. That just helps in every conversation. So I didn't do it because I was introverted by nature. Fortunately, there's something called copywriting where you can hide behind a computer and write words that sell things. And that's what I did for a long time. And I avoided that sales. The second thing that threw people for a loop was I said, if I could go back in time, I would train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I just kept on working out. I didn't gave up team sports around 25. I should have taken up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because, first of all, it's an amazing community. Of all the things that I posted on social media, nothing got strangers to reach out to me as much as when I said I got my white belt in Jiu-Jitsu. And people said, hey man, anytime you're in Tupelo, Mississippi, come and train. Anytime you're in LA, come and train. Hey, if you ever make it to Bangkok, let's roll. All these people, because it is just, it's a thing. It's a thing where people connect. And I think that the world would be a friendlier place if everybody trained jiu-jitsu. Now, on the flip side is it's a valuable skill for getting out of trouble. I don't want you to ever use it, but it's good. It's excellent for physical strength and conditioning. And it is excellent for your brain because it is physical chess. Somebody puts their arm and tries to pull you one way. Well, you use that momentum to take them further and flip them over. And then you get into the top position and then in the strength position. And then if you make a mistake, they capitalize on it. It's really fun, especially when you train with somebody who's at a high level. So that's what I would recommend instead of just, lifting weights. Now, I started jiu-jitsu when I was 46. It's not an old man's game, that's for sure. And it's very difficult for me to do it without getting beat up. You need to be a young person who can recover fast. And then the third thing I would do is I would stop drinking completely because it would force me to get out of my introverted box and develop the social skills that, when you drink, you kind of get some liquid courage, I guess is the phrase. If you're relying on liquid courage, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble. So stop drinking, become more social, develop social skills, which you learn from that face-to-face, nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes sales, and you become a better, complete human being. So that's the advice I'd give to my younger self. Now, how did I quit binge drinking back in the day? It all came down to the 3 effortless discipline systems: elimination, preparation, and connection. So binge drinking for me was a doom loop. And for you, it might be porn, it might be your phone, it might be gossiping, it might be fantasy football, it might be gambling. You've got a doom loop that you're stuck in and you need to get out of it. And the first step is elimination. Make it as hard as possible for you to do the bad behavior. So for me, with the binge drinking, it was stop hanging around drinkers, stop hanging around drinking environments, and get the alcohol out of my life. Now it's really hard to binge drink. Then on the flip side, well, here's another one. If you have addiction to your phone, use the Opal app. It'll block you from using your phone. So there you go. It's elimination of the bad habit. Make it as hard as possible to do. On the flip side, you want preparation. Preparation to make the good habit, the replacement habit, as easy as possible. So when I was a binge drinker, I wanted to hang around friends who didn't drink. So I found friends who didn't drink. And then for my drinking friends, I made time to do non-drinking activities with them. And I had to prepare that. If you want to take up exercise, this is a very common example example of preparing better. If you want to take exercise up, leave your exercise clothes beside the bed. And when you wake up in the morning, put them on immediately, because half begun is half done, as Mary Poppins once said. Then finally, connection. You need to get accountability to somebody you deeply do not want to disappoint, or you need to find a community where you tell them and they will support you. So you tell them your goals. You say, hey, listen, I'm going to exercise every day for the next 30 days. I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 12 weeks. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop using my phone so much. I'm going to stop porn. I'm going to start writing a book. Whatever it is that you want to do, tell like-minded, positive people. Because if you keep it all inside, you're the easiest person to let down. And if you tell negative people, they're going to drag you down. But you have to find, either online or in the real world, positive, like-minded people who will support you. And when you do that, you will move mountains in your life. All right, so I show a picture of Fit Body Bootcamp because at Fit Body Bootcamp, you're around people who want to lose weight. So if you want to lose weight, the best thing for you to do is join a group exercise class and go consistently with the same people and tell them your goals, and they will support you and they will make you follow through. So as I like to say, success in life is simple. We just need to stop making it so hard. All right, so listen, I know you can't go back in time. I can't go back in time either. But I can take the lessons, I can take the systems that I've shared with you today, and I can implement them better than ever so that it makes the right actions automatic and it propels me forward, propels you forward towards your goals and dreams, and you're not reactive to what you see on Instagram or your social media or your phone that gets you off on a dangerous detour. Do that hard work of thinking and know where you want to get to, and then build the systems to keep you on the fast track to success. This is Craig Ballantyne. That's the discipline for young men. That's a discipline for young women. That's a discipline for old men like me and old women. And listen, there's no such thing as an old woman. I take that back. But listen, these are the discipline systems that anybody at any age could use to have big breakthroughs. This is Craig Ballantyne from Early to Rise. I look forward to seeing you at one of our live events. If you want more information on our live events, comment Mastermind down below. Otherwise, I'll be back with another great episode soon, helping you become more disciplined, more structured, so that you have more freedom in your life.